Howdy folks, it is Sinnr here. In this video we're going to talk about what I think is the best way to farm intrinsics quickly in the Duviri Paradox for your drifter. So the reason that you actually want your intrinsic is they make your life a lot easier. It's easier to fight, it's easier to farm, it's just easier to do everything in Duviri. And if you farm some of them up pretty quick, it'll make your steel path runs a lot more simple. So you've got three options in the Duviri Paradox, right? You've got the circuit, the lone story, and the Duviri experience. You want to actually play the Duviri experience on normal difficulty and solo. Playing it solo will keep your number of enemy spawns down, you'll have quicker fight clears, and you'll have much quicker undercroft clears. And that will apply to everything. Like the Void Flood is so quick to do when you're solo, it's crazy. You can just cut through that thing in no time. So the reason why you really want to do it solo is that you dictate your own pace, you can do everything much quicker, you become very OP very quickly, and you could rapidly take out the Orowyrm at the end, and that fight is actually worth doing. So you're less likely to be victimized by bad weapon choices because of how easy it is on normal level. And the rewards for Steel Path for doing it that way, they're just not really worth it overall. Be it either farming different resources or just farming the intrinsics. You're better off going for speed over being bogged down in the heavier difficulty and then just getting stuck with mildly increased rewards. As you're playing through, when you're picking your decrees, pick decrees that help you clear enemies much faster. Most of the slowdown in this process is just getting tied up in combat at the start. Once you become OP and you start chopping through enemies super easy, you're going to start flying through the intrinsic levels. So as regards decrees, there's kind of build concepts behind what you can do, but you really want to let your first couple of decrees just kind of dictate some build ideas to you and then jump on synergistic pairings that come your way. Also, some stuff is just OP and grab it when it arrives. Things like Majestic Strike, which causes your melee to hit twice. Venomous Touch, which causes Toxin with status chance every third blow. Licinia's Suffering or Loden's Rage do damage to just enemies just for being near you with status chance. You've got Twofold Torment, which doubles your status damage. And you've got Fearsome Bonanza, which gives damage increase for every enemy afflicted within 20 meters with a status chance. So imagine you're standing there, you're just inflicting status on everything around you and getting damage boosts just for standing there. It's fantastic stuff. Just pick synergistically as stuff comes up. If you're not planning on doing too long a run, and you can handle the speed, because I know some people suffer with speed frames, just they find it difficult to control them. There's a thing called fleet-footed. It's a decree that gives you movement speed per decree that you get. And that turns you into an absolute monster. Like you're looking at volt levels of speed for map traversal. And once again, speed is king when you're farming stuff. So some of my favorite ones, if I'm honest, on the decrees front are the critical roll. Like every time you roll, basically it increases your crit chance. It works super well with Vicious Barb, which gives better crit damage. Critical Frost for cold on your crits. Rising Agony and Jeweler's Outburst for like speed and additional damage. And then Royal Wrath for even more crit chance on hit. If you can stack them all up, you're turning into an absolute monster. Here's the real important thing about running stuff on normal. You don't need to get that lucky with your decrees to become an absolute hype beast. It's just not necessary. When it comes to actually earning your intrinsics, you just want to do as many of the side activities as possible on your run. I like to do pretty much everything except for the Como board game. That thing takes too long. You have to win to get your reward. There's no point in doing it. I like doing shrines, mazes, the power connections, the animal saves, any chest I can see, be it a fight chest or a puzzle chest, maw fishing, helping your little, clone get into the reflection, all that stuff. Everything is pretty fast except for the Como. There's bird puzzles as well that will give you decrees. But unless you know the answer and can do them really quickly, I would ignore them, because you're just wasting time getting bogged down in a bird puzzle that doesn't really matter to the function. The reason why we're there is to actually just farm up intrinsics. Now, that said, seeing as you're in here anyway doing your thing, you might as well farm up every other resource that you see, because it's quick to do, and you will be perfectly positioned then to build the things that you want to build as soon as you start getting access to your blueprints and your Incarnate Genesis and things of that nature. Because remember, we're killing the worm here at the end, so we're going to get some pathless clamps every time. And they're like one of the most important resources here. A couple of hints: don't stray too far from the current objectives, like the actual stage objective that's going to be listed on your map. I found up to about 600 meters is okay, and that gives a very wide radius to just search for other activities. If you go beyond that, it has a good chance of bugging out, so just remember exactly where it is if you want to go further. The times I recommend definitely not to go further is when it's a portal to the Undercroft, because if you go too far away from a portal from the Undercroft for too long, those things seem to bug and you can't go through. So you have no way of getting to the worm if you can't push the stages past that point. It's just not something that you're able to do. The other good news is that new challenges actually spawn in the area all the time, sometimes pretty much on top of old ones. So you're not going to run out of challenges in the area that you are in, and each new stage of the 6 stages will push you into a slightly different area of the map. So it'll be okay. There's plenty of stuff for you to actually find and do. So go through the stages at your leisure, but keep in mind that each decree you earn will essentially be making the Orowyrm fight easier, and the Orowyrm is worth 15 intrinsics at this level. It's pretty easy to deal with, so we might as well do it and just have a 15 intrinsic capstone at the end of all our farming. I would argue you can get the Orowyrm killed quicker than you can do 5 other events. So we're going to quickly run through the Orowyrm fight. Once you've finished up the 6th stage, that little rat is going to appear on the map, and he's going to have the disc weapon on him, whose name I can literally never remember. So grab that weapon and then jump on your horse, look to the skies, and you'll see the Orowyrm spawning in, and fly to it. There'll be like a shimmer of energy traveling down the discs on the Orowyrm, and when it reaches its head, it's going to fire a ball of energy at you. There's also smaller worms that are going to fire other balls of energy at you. You don't want those smaller worms ones to hit you. Just dodge them. Let the one directly from the head of the Orowyrm come at you, and when it's reasonably close, throw your disc straight at it. It'll smash the orb and create a gust of wind there, which will speed you up and make it much easier for you to catch the actual Orowyrm. When you get close, put your cursor over one of the discs on the side of the worm and throw your Orowyrm disc at it. That will, you'll grapple onto the side of the Orowyrm and you will be good to go. After that, you just need to jump off and grapple to each next stage. Jumping and grappling. Hit the jump button to jump, hit the shoot button to grapple. Not that complicated. Watch out for these like kind of discs of energy that come down the worm. All you got to do is time your jump and you'll be able to dodge it without any problems. When you reach the head, there'll be a button prompt to essentially get into the worm and start controlling it. And then there'll be some towers just kind of marked on the HUD. Fly up to them, use the fire breath attack to destroy them. And once they're both destroyed, a portal will open and you'll be able to fly the Orowyrm through the portal. You do have a limited amount of time to get that done, but it's quite generous. So you should be able to take out both towers and get through the portal without any major issues. Once you get to the other side, the Orowyrm's going to crash. You're going to end up in an arena fight with it. The Orowyrm's going to have 3 glowing rings on its body. Just take them out. Then what's going to happen is a bunch of ads are going to spawn in. Take out all the ads. Some more rings are going to spawn on the worm. Take out the rings. Eventually some smaller worms are going to spawn. Take all of them out. And just repeat in whatever order it's throwing this stuff at you. It'll either be ads or worms and ads. And just take them all out. It should be simple if you have enough decrees. And after you've gone through 3 times of shooting the orange golden rings on the body of the worm, that's it. The fight is over. It should take absolutely no time at all to do. And interact with the chest at the end. You've got your 15 intrinsics, your 10 pathos clamps, and it's going to bump you out to a door you can use to just exit and take all your loot and all your intrinsics with you. And that's it, folks. That's literally all you have to do. You can only make intrinsic farming so fast, and it's always going to be somewhat of a grind. But this is, from what I can tell from my experimenting, from hitting like tier 11, I think, on the Steel Path Lost Circuit and the intrinsics I earned there versus doing the similar length of time, let's say, in a solo Duviri experience, just ripping it apart on normal mode. Normal mode is the way to go. You're not getting rewarded anything special for doing the harder stuff. So only do the harder stuff to get your Incarnate Genesis and things of that nature. And then if you're just after the intrinsics, just hop into the easier stuff and grab a load of other resources while you're in there, because you're going to need them anyway. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you found it at least somewhat helpful. If you have any tips for anybody watching, or even myself, just leave them in the comment section below. And all the best.